Hello everyone and welcome back to my YouTube channel, or welcome to. If you are brand new, I'm super excited to have you. We do a bunch of gardening and just farm related things here. I'm wearing my farming shirt, my farmer shirt actually. But today I'm going to be talking about what I'm going to be growing. I'm going to try to keep this relatively short because I don't want it to be super long. But I'm going to go over what I'm growing, maybe a little bit of where I'm growing it, what I'm planning on doing with a few things. I'm not going to be able to do that with everything. Some things are just going to be pretty self-explanatory. But other than that, let's get into it. I'll say those for last. The first thing that I'm going to be growing are cucumbers. Not the first things. Cucumbers are just really good. I enjoy eating them with salt in the summer. I don't eat a lot of chips or anything, so I will actually just eat these just like chips. I do want to try pickling some this year, these or the Mexican sour gherkins, which I consider those as a cucumber. The cucumbers, or the Mexican sour gherkins especially, those are going to be grown on my trellis. The other varieties are going to be grown different trellises and in a pool that for the bush variety that I have. Second thing that I'm going to be, I'll go into exact varieties. I have the Bush Champion, Straight 8s, and Mexican sour gherkins. Melons, I am doing a few different melons this year. I have not narrowed it down to what watermelon I'm going to be growing this year. Attempting to grow. I've never been able to grow one successfully. But I also have some cantaloupe, which are hearts of gold, honeydew, a bodacious hybrid is what it's called, honey rocks, and just a bunch of little watermelon varieties, all the larger watermelons. Those, they're probably going to be grown in a kiddie pool. Some of this other smaller melons, like the cantaloupes or things, will probably be grown on another trellis that I'm going to be setting up this year. We just need to finalize a few things and we'll be moving forward on that. I want to get some other things done before we just jump into it though. The next thing that I'm going to be growing is corn. Anybody who has been with me for any amount of time knows that I'm a lover of corn. I love watching it grow. It is just so wonderful, and I love just eating fresh off the stalk. Whenever they're growing, I call them my little it's my little corn army, because I mean they just all sprout up. It's just so fun. A majority of what I'm going to be growing is the same things that I have been growing, and those are the Silver Queen hybrid. I don't know if I have a picture. Actually, I do. The Silver Queen hybrid, those are going to be some of the top ones, and then I also have an on-deck variety from Burpee. I did grow on deck last year. I'm excited to grow it again. It did fairly well, not the best, but it's because of my kiddie pool process, and I am redoing that process this year in a better way. So more to come on that. I do have a whole playlist of kiddie pool things down on my channel, so if you want to watch that, I do recommend you going to watch that if you are wanting to grow in a kiddie pool. I give you guys some good tips, and then once we get into other things, I will be adding things of what you can grow in a kiddie pool, or what you can do this or that, or watering, all of that I will have you covered. This is the fourth thing that I'm going to be growing, are beans. None of my beans are in a package because I get them in like the big packages. These are not small packages. I'm going to be growing baby lima beans. Those are probably going to be in a pool or in one of my raised beds once some other things happen. I will also be doing pole beans on another trellis, as well as another trellis that I have, so probably two different trellises and succession planting, and this actually brings me into a good thing. I am growing a lot of things, as you will be able to tell, but I will not be planting all of this at one time. Everything that I'm talking about now and that is in my little photo box will be grown this year. to some degree or another. Some will only be a plant, some will be more than a plant. I have a bunch more seeds inside, but these are just the ones that I know for sure that I'm going to be growing, or at least attempting to grow. So a lot of my processes are going to depend on succession planting. Different areas, I'm trying to plant different things at different times and really crack down on that. As you will have been able to see, I think it's in an upcoming video, actually. It might not be, but I'm not entirely sure. I have my corn beds, my 7x5 beds, 7 foot by 5 foot beds. I usually grow corn in both of those. I start them about the same time. I'm not doing that this year. I realize that I am wasting potential with those two beds. So what I'm going to do, or what I have already done, I have cabbage, which you have been able to see. I have cabbage planted in half of one of the 7x5s, and then I have zinnias planted on the other side. That video will be out shortly if it's not already. The other 7x5 foot bed will go to be planted as regular. I will plant it as early as possible, and then I will put bush beans in behind that to just really succession plant and to be getting the most of my beds, because last year they sat empty, and I could do 2 waves of corn. I've done it before, but you have to start it a little sooner, and then it's kind of a gamble towards the end. But I do have a long enough growing season to be able to do that. And this year we had an extra 3 weeks. We're gonna have a night that's gonna get close to freezing, but it's not actually going to freeze. So I'm really excited about that. But the other beans that I'm gonna be growing, baby lima, purple queen. Purple queen's a bush. Kentucky pole beans, and then dragon tongue bush beans. So I have 1 pole and 2 bush. The lima beans I'm not particularly sure. I'm pretty sure it's a bush though. But I will do more research before I actually plant those, and then I'll do like a little thing for you guys. So what I'll probably do, or in my big plan, is to plant a kiddie pool with the on-deck corn in the center, probably do 10 to 15 plants, and then layer the outside with a bunch of beans. And I do like the bigger pools. These aren't like the smaller pools. These are like the bigger pools. So I will layer bush beans around that. And it's so full, so lush, and just simply amazing. The next things that I'm going to be growing, oh, and I love the dragon tongues. Those are top favorites for sure when it comes to beans. The gourds that I'm going to be growing are Cherokee bush pumpkins. I only got the bush because I'm wanting to try them in a kiddie pool and just see how well they work. I will also be growing loofahs on this on my greenhouse trellis. I have some tromboncino. I have some baby boo pumpkins that I'm going to be growing. Those will probably be growing on that big trellis that I'm going to be putting up soon. Prolific straight neck yellow squash, zucchini, some bigger pumpkins, and then some smaller red pumpkins. Those are going to be growing anywhere. I really want to crack down on using the spaces that I have efficiently, and that's why I'm trying to do the things how I'm trying to do it. It is incredibly hard to do. It does not come with an easy task. It's not incredibly hard. It is fairly easy, but you have to know what you're doing, and you have to know what you have first, like beforehand, before you just say, okay, I'm going to plant this. And you need to know your frost dates and all of that stuff. So those are the gourds. The roots that I'm going to be growing, just really carrots and then potatoes. Potatoes are a really big part. I love growing potatoes. They're one of the first things that I started. I grow them in my buckets, and I will forever have a love of buckets because of them. I already have some carrots started. They didn't do too well, so I replanted them. We'll see what happens. You guys will be seeing that video, the carrot video, before this is out. So if you're wondering how those are doing, they died, but I'm going to be planting them again. The next thing are nightshades. Nightshades I'm going to be growing. The only thing that I'm not too sure about are tomatillos. I would love to grow tomatillos, but I don't want to dedicate a bunch of space to them. They're just a Mexican husk tomato. I want to dedicate some space to them. I just don't know where that's going to be right now. And I want to make smart choices in things, because everything else I will eat. We will preserve. We will eat. These I just don't want to dedicate a whole row. So I will probably just have these, as I will plant a few plants in an extra space. And that's how they'll go. We also have some eggplants in here, some shooting stars, ground cherries, and then I have some peppers, California Wonder and Keystone Resistant Giant, which is an heirloom variety. Peppers, we don't use a lot of peppers, but I am wanting to get into making salsas and stuff like that this year. So I'll really see what we can feasibly do and what I can feasibly learn. I could very much learn how to do this, but I want to be able to do it right and properly. So yeah, that will come eventually. That's half of what I'm growing. Well, probably a third, because I'm doing some other things as well. Greens, I have a bunch. I have white Paris lettuce, which I already am growing. The cabbages, I have kale, which will be planted later in the year. Kale, iceberg lettuce, and spinach. And that's really all the greens that I'm growing. I'm going to be trying something different with my greens, because I grow my tomatoes in 2 beds, 4 different rows, and I want to try to grow lettuce or spinach or some sort of greens in the center of those, because the tomatoes will shade most of that and keep it a lot cooler. So if I can keep that cool, then I should be able to grow the greens without them bolting. I'll probably really only do spinach and maybe some romaine lettuce, which is what the white Paris is. I probably won't try for anything headed until later in the fall. And then in the fall, or before the fall, probably in August, any extra beds that I have will be planted with cabbages and lettuce and a bunch of other stuff. So it will all be coming together very shortly. There will be some empty spaces in my garden. Some will be very lush, some will not be, and that's just how gardening is. You have to be able to succession plant. You just can't plant everything at one time. You have to keep it going. And this year I'm really looking forward to that. My herbs that I'm growing this year, we are putting in an herb garden. Those beds are not complete just yet. I need to move a coop, and I need to actually nail the beds together. But that's not going to take too long, and we still have a little while longer. It really just depends on how this week goes, if those get done this week. There will be a video on how I'm doing these beds. I have 2 beds like this already completed. I didn't really film a lot for them because I just wanted the process done. They're just firewood logs nailed together. Quite simple, but I will show you guys how I'm doing that. To fill out the space, and then there will be something big surprise in front of that as well. All of these will to some degree be grown, I am pretty sure. Some things might be in pots. Things that will come back will probably be in pots, because I don't want to really nail those down in a bed when next year I could grow flowers or something in that bed, and I could keep moving them around like that. So I will see, but I will make all of that known when I get to that point. We have some purple basil, we have some sweet Italian basil, we have piccolino basil, we have, I don't know why I'm Italian when I say that, it just looks Italian to me, and it probably is. I have mint, I have more basil, I have chives, cilantro, dill, lavender. The lavender is going to be grown underneath of my fruit trees. So I'm very excited about that. I've seen a lot of processes like that done. It does not like a lot of water, so I will really see what happens with that. I have oregano, I have parsley. It says plain or single Italian, so we'll see. If I just grow a lot of this and save a bunch, that'll probably be what I do. Just dry it. I have sage, and then I also have some thyme because we always need thyme. Again, some of these will probably be grown in pots this year. I do plan on growing a lot of them, but some will most likely be in pots because I can't just grow everything in those beds. I can companion plant and all of that. Video coming out on that soon, actually, I think. But yeah, let's get into flowers. We're almost done here. Keeping it a lot shorter than what I thought. I thought this was going to be well over 30 minutes. I have some echinacea. We've really been getting into echinacea tea. It helps your throat, if you did not know. I have some dahlias, onions, unwinds, not onions, unwinds, dwarf mixed colors. I don't know if I'm going to grow those this year because of something that I'm going to be talking about in a moment. But I might. I might. I'll have the space, so I might. 5-spot Nemophilia maculata. I don't know what these are, but they're annuals and they look really cool. So I will probably grow them. I have Cosmos. I don't know if I'm going to grow them this year. I'd love to, but they do reseed, and I don't have a particular space where I would want them to just come back every year. I mean, they could go up in that other area, but we'll see. And then I have some nasturtiums. Nasturtiums I use as a trap crop and companion planting. It does trap most of the squash bugs, in my opinion. It does not keep them all the way off. The squash bugs will still go after your squash, but if you're wanting to just take out a bunch of them at a time, have nasturtiums and you can pick the whole plant and throw it into your chickens. That's what I do, and then shortly after the squash that's on it is done, I pull those plants, and then I'll just replant after their the period for those bugs is over, because it's really just a period of time that you have to wait for their life cycles to be over. Sunflowers, I don't know. I'm pretty sure I'm going to grow them all. There are a few that I'm iffy about because I'm really iffy on the other space. But I know I'm going to have some Mammoth Russians, probably some Pike's Peak in here because those will get like 18 foot tall. And then some other smaller sunflowers. A majority of these sunflowers, though, will not be grown until the fall because I like to do a big fall showing of flowers, and that's when my buckets are ready for other things. So I will probably just put a bunch of the smaller varieties in the fall and then just have a grand showing of flowers along with some other things. I won't go into all of the varieties. I have some moonshine, I know I have Mammoth Russian, strawberry blonde, Pike's Peak, some dwarf varieties, some autumn beauties, and just a bunch of different things like that. Zinnias, I have a bunch of different zinnias. It's not even funny. And I've started a lot of these. Actually, if you watch that video, you will see that I've started a lot of these, but I've also started a bunch indoors. And by a bunch, I mean like 15. So not that much. But I have Giant Double Enchantress, Starlight Rose, and these seeds are actually yellow. So that's very interesting. Giant Double Violet Queen, Color Crackle, Giant Double Flowered Canary Bird, Queen Lime Red. I did plant a few of those the other day, and I might get some more, I'm not sure. Candy Cane Zinnias, Giant Double Flowered Lavender, Giant Double Scarlet Flame, White Wedding, which they're just white, obviously, Envy, and then Coral Zinnia, which those are in a different package, so those don't have anything on it. My plans with these flowers, with zinnias in particular, because I know they have a good vase life and they are good cut flowers, as well as companion plants, and I also really love them. I will be growing a lot of those 4-cut flowers. I started some about a week ago. I'm waiting for them to come up. But once they come up, I'm hoping to have flowers in time for Mother's Day to be able to do some arrangements for my mom, my great-grandmother, and people like that in my life. And I should very much have the time to do that. As long as they come up and they're okay. If not, I will just resow that bed with a mix, and I will save these to grow later on. But I do want some flowers up. And actually, I might see something. Give me a second. Nothing yet. But yeah, that's my plan with zinnias. Really just using them as cut flowers and things like that. I really enjoy flowers. I will always grow them, zinnias in particular. I love them. Zinnias I do spread throughout all of my, whoa, sorry. I do spread zinnias throughout my big mixed bed, and I will throw them here and there as well. While we're on the topic of zinnias, I will go ahead and go into side bed plans. I do already have a video on that, but plans have changed since I filmed that video. That will be going out, I think, the week before this. I'm not sure on my schedule anymore, but these plants, that whole side bed area, if you watch that video, you will see, I talk a little bit about it and you'll see it. But we have some plants there. Well, we don't have any plants there. It's a whole new bed, brand new, established, all of that. I'm waiting for soil right now. But my plan is I'm going to have the blueberry bushes that I have over there. I'm going to have 2 on each side. I'm going to have 2 grapevines with a small arch. And then I have a bunch of dahlias that will be going into that bed. And then I have I have a few lilies that will be going into those beds. Because I love them. But that's just the next thing that needs to go, and I already have them. So those will be going into those beds, and they will be okay in the beds. And those will be okay in those beds. Now, in my zone, I am 7B. I think it's 7B. Yeah, it's 7B. Dahlias are iffy with being able to survive. So I don't know what I'm going to do survive in the ground. I might try to leave a few in the ground and see what happens, but it really just depends on our climate, honestly. That area does stay warmer, so I'm not incredibly worried about it or anything, but we will see what is going to go on with that area. If I have to dig up dahlias, it'll be a new learning experience, and I'll be taking you guys with me on that as well. So we will certainly figure out what is going on with all of that. But I'm going to have dahlias. That's for space, and a bunch of zinnias. A bunch of zinnias are going to take over that space too. It's really more of a cut flower area. I'm going to have some perennials, but I'm also going to have some things that I'm just going to be cutting flowers for, because that's what I want. And I would like more spaces, and we just want something, because my garden's in the back. We want something that's going to show out and be beautiful, and that space can do that. Along with all of the things that I'm growing, as well as marigolds. If you have been, I don't know if I mentioned it last year, actually. Might have. But, sorry again. I'm tired. Marigolds, I know I've mentioned it in my Instagram story, or my Instagram. I grow these particular marigolds because they came from my great-great-grandmother. Margie, that was her name, and they had a particular look to them that has sadly disappeared over the time. Well, not disappeared, it's still there, it's just not as dominant as it once was. So my plan for these plants, Margie's marigolds is the breeding name that I'm going to give them. I think it's quite fitting, actually. These plants I will be saving seeds from, only the ones that look from only the ones that hold the true color, which is like a yellow, orange, I will settle for a gold because I know where they're coming from, but I would like to get them as true to the original as possible with not being something that's already out on the market, if you will. I don't know if these will ever be sold. I don't know what the plan going forward is. I would like to continue to grow them, and I would like to continue trying to improve their genetics because I think that is very important when you are trying to breed something. So I will only be growing those marigolds. I have a bunch of other marigold seeds that I would love to plant, but I'm not going to because I have more pressing things. Well, not more pressing. I could wait, but I want to push this to the forefront and to grow a bunch of marigolds. I am so sorry. And I want to grow a bunch of marigolds. I just want them to be, I want to get them back to what they were. It's legacy, but it's also honoring something that was done, in my opinion, and I want to do that. I wrote a poem some time ago. It's called The Legacy of Love. These were mentioned in that poem, The Legacy of Love, because that's what it is. Also, Reagan and I are doing a zinnia breeding project. We talked a little bit about it on the episode that we have coming out on what we're growing this year. Just some zinnias that we thought looked pretty cool, and we're going to selectively breed them to the best of our abilities and continue growing them and do a cross or two with them to create something new, to create our own variety, and really just, sorry, it's starting to rain, really just to get something of our own out there, something that's kind of special to us. And yeah, that's our plan with our zinnia breeding project. I'm not going to go into a bunch of specifics because I know that we'll go into specifics later on, and I'll probably mention it and throw in garden tours every now and then as well. But kept it shorter than I wanted to. Thank you guys for watching. I know this probably was not like the most upbeat video or anything. I'm not expecting that. I've done a bunch of shorter videos. This is a longer video, yes, but I do think that this has a lot of value in showing you that you can grow a lot. And as long as you are doing some things, I will be doing shorter videos on succession planting and videos of all types. So I think a longer video every now and then could hold a lot of value. So it will not be, you will not always get a 20-minute video from me. But if you are still here, thank you guys for watching. I hope that you will continue to support the channel. Comment what content you want to see on the channel. I am going to be switching some things up, but you'll see more of that later on. So thank you guys for hanging out with me today, and I hope that I have inspired you to at least grow something different, or in the very least grow a garden of your own, because it is very beneficial to a lot of things. So thank you guys for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, y'all.